Okay, we're good. We're live.
Cool.
Audio input capture?
Remember,
Question.
guys, no dead air on podcasts. That's a bad thing. Okay?
Exactly. All right, let's go. Jesus.
That's not quite dead air,
I'm
but
gonna
it
kill
sounds like
myself,
you're
dude.
dying.
I'm about to.
All right.
Anyways.
So where were we? Back to Panthers and future of the
Yes.
Panthers.
I
So I
think
actually
Yes.
pulled up a couple mock drafts, which I really hate mock drafts
Me too.
personally, but it's the only way to really evaluate people I don't know in college that well.
You said
And
mock draft, and my entire body shuddered.
yeah, I know. But actually, one of the ones that I found here, a lot of them, I think like two of the three I pulled up had a decently large, like 6'2", 200-pound receiver. And then this one I just pulled up actually has them drafting a tight end, Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon in their
Oh
first
yeah.
round.
Oh, that would be a
So,
great pick for them. That
so
would
you
be
were talking about a tight end, Santor. I mean, they haven't had a good tight end since what, Greg Olson when he
yeah,
retired.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I actually agree with you. I mean, their offense looked good, but I guess that would probably help open things up in the middle of the field rather than running a
Absolutely.
short receiver through the slot the whole time.
Yep.
Um, I mean, as a Steelers fan, I know how tight ends can affect the game. We have like 17 of them on the roster.
Yeah.
But when they decide to use the middle of the field, usually teams are successful. So I think that would be a good idea for them. Everything else on here says like the next couple rounds they're gonna go linebacker and corner pretty much on all three mock drafts I looked at, which makes sense if they want to shore up some of their defensive struggles. How many sacks did they have yesterday? Did anyone know off the
I
top
can
of
look
their head?
it up. I can look it up. They had a few, but I don't
Because
think it
their
was
pass
anything.
rush didn't look terrible.
I don't think it's
They
anything that was.
definitely got to Stafford.
I was gonna say I don't think it was anything like game changing, but let me take a look here at the box score stats. All right, Panthers. How many sacks did they have? They had one sack yesterday.
Okay, I mean, what was their? I mean, their overall defensive stats like that as a team. I mean, how many sacks and pressure do they have in general? I
I
don't
mean,
know,
they
but
they had they had one sack, one interception. They had a lot of um pass breakups. A lot.
yeah, they
Like
did actually. I
their
do know that.
corners are really good. Um Specifically Mike Jackson. He's the one that had the interception, and he also had four pass breakups. So like
Wow. Okay.
they've got a solid corner, you know. Um and also I was talking about their receivers. Jalen Coker, 9 receptions for 134 yards. Tet McMillan, 5 receptions for 81 yards. So those are their top two receivers right there, getting a bunch of yards. But then their next receiving was Tommy Tremble, their current tight end, with 3 catches for 22. But I mean, if you put a really solid tight end in there, that would be pretty fun to watch, I feel like.
You probably see it be more split up. Like, your first guy probably won't have 130, but he
Right.
might have
Yeah.
like 70, 80. And then you raise your tight end up to maybe like 60 yards and a touchdown, probably.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's a lot of times right now in the league. I think, unless you have like a Jamar Chase type of receiver or, who's the guy on the Raiders, Brock Bowers, unless you have a Brock
Yeah.
Bowers type of tight end or something like that, you don't really see a lot of these successful teams giving it to just one guy. So,
True.
I mean, that's pretty good on Carolina's part, even without the tight end. They got two guys pretty much at 100 yards on average.
I have a
Um,
um I have a couple other stats from the game.
Here, you guys keep
That
talking
are
about the past two games. I'm gonna go make some more tea. I'll be back for.
um I'll tell you what's interesting. So we talked about sacks. The Rams had two, Panthers have one. So not a lot of sacks. Each team had an interception. The Rams had a fumble recovery. The
yeah.
only thing that the Panthers beat the Rams in yesterday was third down percentage. The Panthers were 41% on third down versus the Rams were only 23%. So you got to think that the Rams are going to be better on third down. And, that they probably would have won by a much larger margin if they were better on third down.
Yeah.
But, they beat the Panthers in offensive yards by like 80, passing yards, rushing yards, all that stuff. And they won time of possession as well. So just to throw out a couple of stats there. I will also say that Bryce Young actually didn't play as well as he looked, because I'm looking, he had a 71.3 quarterback rating. And I think a big reason for that is because he only completed 21 out of 40 throws. So his completion percentage was around 50% yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is not great, right? And then you compare that to Matt Stafford, who had a 93.8 quarterback rating, 3 passing touchdowns, 304 passing yards. But I mean, that's what you would expect, though, from Stafford.
Yeah, I don't personally like to look at quarterback rating or passing percentage a lot of times, unless I'm really digging into like the season stats. Like the season speaks a lot more than one game, because games are situational. And so like I'm not going to knock on Bryce Young for having what was his passing percentage,
70,
completion rate or whatever.
Completion percentage was 50%, just about.
Yeah, like, so how much of that game were they playing from behind until they finally took the lead?
Yeah, most of it.
Yeah, so it's like you kind of have to pass, and we just talked about with the lack of middle of the field ability, they're forced to throw those timing routes. They're forced to throw those almost 50-50 balls.
True.
They had the receivers win on a lot of the routes. That's how they got open a lot of times. But you saw how far he was throwing the ball on some of these plays. You're not guaranteed to hit all of those. So it's a lot of situational stuff with him. I don't think he played poorly just because his percentage was bad there. I look at all his other stats, like how many rushing yards did he have? I saw him run quite a few times to pick up first. That's part of the reason why their first down or their third down percentage was good, because of him and using his legs.
Yeah.
So
he rushed for 3 times yesterday, 24 yards. So he averaged about 8 yards a scramble. So
right.
Yeah, and he did have a rushing touchdown yesterday. On top of his passing touchdown that he had.
And my other thing is the playoffs. Who cares about stats? Like individual stats are garbage in the playoffs. Like, okay, yeah, maybe if you're voting for the Super Bowl MVP, you might want to look at stats, but we ain't anywhere close to the Super Bowl yet. And as long as you win the game, who cares what your throwing stats are, your touchdown to interception ratio is? It's just meaningless at this point in the season to look at that stuff, I think.
That's fair, yeah. But I do say, though, like the Panthers rushing, they only had 83 total rushing yards. I think that was an issue for them as well. Like they couldn't really run the ball. So like they had to throw. So
true.
That goes back to your point of Bryce Young needing to throw the ball. So of course,
right. Yeah, that's the situational stuff. Like, okay, is the running game working? No. All right, well then we got to throw the ball. Yeah. Even if you throw, a lot of times I see when I watch some of the professionals analyze plays and analyze games, I was watching some stuff the other day talking about Pittsburgh and their swing passes to running backs. It's really just an extension of running the ball right there, is what they kept saying. Like they may not be handing it off, but you're throwing it behind the line of scrimmage, giving your running back some space. Because if you can't block to get space, then you try that and see if they can pick up some yards that way. So they may not have run the ball well, but if they ran some screens, if they ran some short swing routes, some flat routes, I'm sure they picked some more stuff up that way on the ground and got some yak on those plays. But again, who knows how many of those plays worked for his passing percentage and completion rate? But
yeah. I mean, I guess the last thing I'll say is, the Panthers finish, 8-9, but technically 8-10. I don't think it's a completely lost season for them, because nobody even expected them to really even make the playoffs this year. So I mean, the fact that they lost by 3,
they beat out the Buccaneers, right? That was the team that was behind them.
Yeah,
in their division.
Yeah, they won
had
on a
to- yeah.
tiebreaker. Yeah.
Right.
So,
And I think people
um,
thought the Buccaneers would be better this year than the Panthers. So
yeah, I mean, there's an argument still that might be true just because, the Bucks did beat the Panthers in week 18, but then the Panthers won the division on the tiebreaker. So, I mean, I
yeah,
guess you could argue that, but you know what though? I don't know that the Buccaneers would have put up as much of a fight against the Rams.
I don't either.
So
But
the Rams, they advance.
either way, it's nice to see at least a different playoff team like the Panthers be in there.
Yeah.
And hopefully it does mean that they have a bright future ahead, especially with Bryce Young playing decent, not his best, but decent enough to only lose by 3 points.
I
would consider this a massive success for the Panthers. To be
Oh,
honest with you.
absolutely. They need a tight end and they need maybe like another offensive lineman, and then their offense would be set. So yeah, for the Rams, they advance. They move to technically 13-5 if we're counting that game towards the record. I think now would be a good time to shift to the game that everybody watched last night.
Oh
The
boy.
Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. And for those of you watching, I texted our group chat here for the podcast, and I said that I was gonna go incredibly hard on the Packers. So here goes. I'll do a little mini rant
We'll give you the floor. Give you your rant.
for the Packers. So I did watch this game yesterday, and the Packers were so dominant in the first half. They're up 21-3 at halftime, and then everything unravels in the second half. The offense can't score points, the defense can't stop a nosebleed, and you end up losing the game. My problem with this, I actually have so many problems with this, and I not that I really cared who won the game, but
Right.
before the game even started, like I picked Packers. I was on the Packers to win. The Packers had more,
Yeah, we
you
all
know,
did.
and this doesn't really matter that much, but I do still think it plays a part. The Packers have way more postseason experience, especially with Matt
Yep.
LaFleur, head coach. Jordan Love has been to multiple playoff games and won a couple of them, so they have all the experience. When you have a 3 possession lead in the playoffs in the third quarter of a game, it's absolutely unacceptable to lose that game. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot
Yep.
you cannot lose that game. Like, I I don't want to go as far to say that LaFleur should maybe be fired, but like I would not be surprised if they're having those conversations right now, because like that is absolutely inexcusable. The offense, you know, they were still able to move the ball, but somehow they weren't able to put more points on the board. Like they'd get into the Bears territory and the drive would stall, or they'd turn the ball over, or the kicker misses a field goal. That Green Bay kicker, McManus, he's gone. He's not coming back.
Oh gosh, dude,
Um, but you know
that was
what?
terrible.
The Packers defense is not entirely off the hook either. I mean, that second half defense was atrocious. I mean, I will give credit to Ben Johnson because he clearly made adjustments, came into the second half and executed them.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
when you get outscored 28-6 in the second half, that's absolutely inexcusable. Like that just cannot happen. And for me, like, yeah, the defense, could have been better. But if the offense was putting up points, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, you had a 3 possession lead. The offense gets a touchdown and a field goal and the game's over. Like
Yep.
they couldn't even do that. They got a touchdown and missed the extra point. And then defense falls apart. Offense, can't sustain drives. I don't know. I mean, Caleb Williams looked really good. He looked insanely good last night in the second half.
Yeah, he did.
First half, nothing worked in the first half for the Bears. And that fourth down decision by Ben Johnson on like his own 30-yard line to go for it when the score was what, 14-3? It's like you have to punt
Yeah.
there. Like
Yep.
you give the Packers the ball and they go up 21-3. I mean, I don't think that was a good decision. Obviously, it didn't matter in the end, but like there
Well,
was a
I'm
question.
getting tired of that kind of play. I'll be honest, like watching the NFL lately, I'm getting so tired of these coaches. Like I'm gonna call it the Dan Campbell effect because
Yeah,
realistically, he's the one at fault for all this garbage.
he
Like when
started
I'm
it.
when
Yeah.
I'm watching my team play, and I know what proper NFL football strategy should be, and I see these coaches basically playing Madden on the field in real life.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's 4th and 4 from our own 25-yard line. You know what? It's early in the game. Let's just be aggressive and go for it. And then they never have the right play call. I watched
Nope.
the Lions all year go for it on 4th down like 80% of the time. Just pull it out of my head, not an actual stat, but like that's what it seemed like. And it just tells me that they don't care about field position anymore in the NFL, even though you should 100% care about field position because you have
Absolutely.
professional defenses. You pay your defense to play defense. Put them on the field.
Right.
Make your guys make a stop. Don't put yourself in jeopardy by basically giving 3 points away minimum. It's ridiculous. And I agree with you. I think that was ridiculous to go for it there
Yeah,
in a playoff game. When you got an inexperienced quarterback,
exactly.
like
Real quick,
seriously, get a
real quick. Are we good to switch to picks real quick? I'll make my picks. I'll leave the stream running, and then I'm gonna go downstairs and watch church and lay down for a little bit, and then you just text me when you want me to end the stream, and I'll run up quick, end stream, and then.
Okay. That's fine.
all right.
Um all right, well then let's move to picks then.
Yeah,
I
hold
do
that thought on ripping apart the Packers.
I do want to come back to this game though, but yes, we can
Yeah.
move to picks. So for everyone watching, we've started like an official tally of records. In fact, can somebody like write this down?
Yeah, I got it.
Like I don't know where we want to keep this, but all three of us are 1-1 because we all picked the Rams and we all picked the Packers yesterday. But we're gonna keep a tally throughout the postseason, week to week, on who has the best record prediction wise, going into the Super Bowl. But let me go ahead and share my screen because we've got the playoff bracket. We're just gonna make predictions for this week, the rest of this week's games. We can certainly take a look into the future, but for Ethan's sake, we're just gonna do picks for this week, and then he'll head out. Okay. So, obviously we have the Bears won last night and the Rams won. Let's go ahead and just stick in the NFC. We'll predict the final NFC game. We have the Eagles hosting the 49ers. Eagles hosting the 49ers. I do not want to start because I'm an
You're
Eagles
biased.
fan.
I'll start us off. I think this game is actually like thinking about it the last week or so now that we've just kind of gone full blown playoff mode. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than maybe we made it out to be on the other shows. And I think we were mostly thinking about how broken the Niners were, especially with injuries. But they should be getting some guys back. I think a lot of
They
their guys
are.
are coming
They're
back.
getting
actually.
everybody. They're getting everybody except Bosa back.
Right. And now Bosa's a big piece, but
Mhm.
realistically, one guy is not going to make or break the team right there, at least in my
The
opinion.
biggest key here is Fred Warner, who has had Saquon's number every time they play against each other. I do, however, think Eagles will win this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really close. I think it'll be a less than 7-point game. I think it might come down to a game-winning drive, and we're going to see. I do think the Eagles are going to take it, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have to see Jalen Hurts be Mr. Clutch in the playoffs.
Here's the thing: his postseason numbers are better than his regular season numbers.
Right.
If you take a look at them, like he plays his best games in the biggest moments, and that's what we Eagles fans love about Jalen, is that he can have a bad regular season game, but once it's time to put the cape on, he can absolutely do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I will say the spread is like Eagles -5 or Eagles -5.5. I think that's crazy. I think this should be. I mean, I think the Eagles should be favored, but like -3.5, maybe
I
like
think
5.
I think they're getting some home field advantage on that
Well, yeah,
number. Just it
absolutely.
is tough to play in Philly. So,
Um,
and you know that the Eagles have the Niners number right now, so they're probably taking that into
Yeah.
consideration. Like this is basically a rivalry game. It's just not a division rival.
right.
So
But I will say though, you can't argue postseason experience for either side because I mean
Yep.
the Niners
Yep.
have won the NFC for a couple years recently. So have the Eagles, obviously. So like Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, they have experience.
yeah,
Sirianni, Hurts, like everybody has playoff experience in this game, and I think that's why it's going to be such a fun game to watch. I think it'll be a defensive game though, low scoring. I think it'll be low
Yeah,
scoring.
I agree with low scoring, and this is kind of where my 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 brain is telling me, or my heart is telling me, go with the Niners because I think both defenses are great. However, when it comes to the postseason, the 49ers are a different animal. The Eagles, they are great in the postseason and they have more likely of a chance to win. However, blowout games aren't necessarily something that I remember seeing coming from the Eagles. The only blowout game I can remember, however, is when they played the Niners when half of their offense was missing and Brock Purdy got injured halfway through the first quarter. A bunch of their defense was missing. Um, so like I'm actually looking forward to this game on the level of it's an almost fully healthy Niners versus a fully healthy Eagles. But I think with it being in Philly, Bosa is out. I think I have to go with my brain is telling me to go with the Eagles, but my heart is like, nah, man, it's gonna be the Niners. You watch.
The Eagles actually do
Santor,
tend to blow people out in the
I was
postseason.
I was watching your face, Santor. I was gonna make a comment, but I was waiting for Ethan to be done. I think I seem to recall the last Eagles playoff blowout was the Super Bowl
Well,
last year
okay, yeah, I
when
guess
they
against the Chiefs.
did along.
and and the NFC Championship against the Commanders, we won like 55-23 or something.
When was that?
It was the NFC Championship last year.
Oh,
Last year.
The Eagles won like
I
55 to
don't remember the
23.
Commanders making it to the NFC Championship, and I don't know why. Damn.
Well,
All right. Anyway,
they went on a hot streak. I
Yeah.
think they were playing better than they actually
Well,
were.
these Falcons fans, they don't pay attention to much after their team is out. So
exactly. So are we all going Eagles then?
I think so.
I'm going to say Eagles defense wins the game for them at home. We know their offense has been
Yeah.
struggling, but like I don't know if you guys know this or not. Kyle Shanahan has publicly stated he is not good against Vic Fangio's defense, and the numbers actually back that up.
Yeah.
I think their
Yeah.
offense averages like 12 points per game against Fangio's defenses.
Yeah.
So as long as
That's
the
pretty
Eagles
crazy.
score like 2 touchdowns, they'll be fine.
Yep.
So I think I'll take the Eagles, although I do expect it to be a close, hard-fought game.
I also think it's going to be a very aerial game. I think the run defenses from both teams are going to kind of slow down Barkley and McCaffrey. I think we're going to see a lot of in the air touchdowns and in the air long yardage gains.
Yep, I agree. That's what I was saying. I think Jalen Hurts is gonna have to play hero if they decide that they want to win the game.
Yep.
So we all agree, Eagles. We're all officially locking in Eagles to
Yep.
win. Let's move on to the AFC side, and I actually want to go in chronological order here. So I want to start with the 1 o'clock game, the Jaguars hosting the Buffalo Bills. I will start because I have a very concrete pick here. I love Jacksonville to win this game, and here's why. Their defense is severely underrated. They have like a top 11 defense. I think they're right around anywhere between 8 and 10. I would have to look specifically, but their defense is top 10. And they've blown so many teams out this year. They blew out the Chargers. They blew out the Broncos. Like these were not fluke wins. You know, we talk about, are the Broncos frauds? Are the Patriots frauds? I'll tell you who's not a fraud, Jacksonville.
Yep.
Because they have been spanking people all year, and it has
Yeah.
not been close. The Bills, other than Josh Allen and James Cook, who do they have on offense? Like, if they can't run the ball, Josh Allen has to play Superman. And the Jaguars secondary is for real. Like you probably can't name a lot of people on their secondary. I certainly can't. But I'll tell you what, like after watching them play this year, their defense is for real. Trevor Lawrence broke like a bunch of Jaguars records this year in terms of franchise QB, like most passing touchdowns, all that stuff. And once the Jaguars acquired Jacoby Myers in that trade, their offense has just went through the roof. I actually do think they'll win this game. I think the Bills' defense is susceptible to passing and air yards, which is what Trevor Lawrence thrives at. I don't know. I just see this game going Jacksonville's way, and it kind of surprises me that the Bills are favored by like 1 point.
I'll tell you exactly why they're favored. Josh Allen in playoffs
Yep.
versus Trevor Lawrence in playoffs. Trevor Lawrence in playoffs is equivalent to Bryce Young rookie season. Josh Allen in playoffs would bend Superman over and spank him to death.
That's crazy.
I would trust Josh Allen scoring on the best defense in the league in playoffs more than I trust Trevor Lawrence scoring on the worst defense in the league in playoffs. I have to go with the Bills because regardless of who he could have the Oompa Loompas from Willy Wonka playing as his receivers and his running backs, and he would still find a way to win the game. And that is how much faith I have in last year's MVP, and there's a reason they gave it to him despite the fact that he didn't even go to the Super Bowl, Josh Allen.
I mean, that's a fair argument. I can't really argue with that because that was my mindset into this is like I think Josh Allen's playoff persona is going to come through a little bit more than Trevor Lawrence. But you can't argue. I mean, you can't argue the massive success that the Jaguars have had all season, and who knows if that'll translate into the playoffs. We'll see today, I guess. But I'm actually looking at. I'm not too familiar with their depth chart, so I'm actually looking at the Jaguars depth chart right now. I know we've mentioned a bunch about how literally the Bills are Josh Allen, and that's about it.
Yeah,
Josh Allen and Cook, the running back. But I mean, you look at Jacksonville. They don't
great too in the slot. I love their receivers. They've got Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., and Parker Washington in the slot. That's a pretty deadly trio. And Parker Washington's been crazy good. He's their third best receiver.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've got lots of receiving threats.
If the Jaguars were playing literally anybody else in the AFC, I would pick the Jaguars. I think the Bills are the only team of the five that I trust with my whole heart to go to Jacksonville and win.
I'm betting Jacksonville money line today.
Really?
I'm actually doing that.
Okay. Put your money where your mouth is. I like it, Santoro. I like it.
And by the way, I think Sean McDermott is fired on Monday after they lose today. I think he's fired tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my take.
And, I don't know about that one, but
they'll bring in Harbaugh or something like that.
No, I'm hoping the Falcons get
Harbaugh. If they do that, the Bills are screwed for the next 5 years or longer.
All right, so both are picking Bills, yes?
Yeah, I'm going Bills.
So Ethan's marking this stuff down so that we have official. But I'm going to choose the Bills since that's what the majority has. But I do love Jacksonville today. Moving on to tonight's game, we have the Patriots hosting the Chargers. I started for the Jacksonville game, so if someone else wants to start for this one, that's fine.
I'll start because I feel, I don't want to say pretty strongly about this. I think we've talked about the Patriots being frauds. And, I feel like that was a little harsh on the level of you can't be a fraud to win your division. I do, however, think that the Chargers overall are stronger, and we've seen Justin Herbert when he has a strong receiving core, and when the Chargers have a decent defense on him, he can win in the playoffs. I do, however, really worry about that offensive line. I think this game is going to be a dogfight, but I think the Chargers will edge out the win there.
Yeah, I think I'm going Chargers. I just don't see as good as Drake May looks. Again, this is his first playoffs ever. So
you saw Caleb Williams in the first half yesterday. I mean, horrible. So,
Right. So unless they make serious adjustments and give Drake
right.
May, like let's say that same thing happens. Let's say Drake May just absolutely craps the bed in the first half. Unless they're, I mean, I know Vrabel's a good coach, but
He's no Ben Johnson, though. He's no
are
Ben
him
Johnson.
and his staff going to be good enough to make adjustments to their game plan that they made all week long
Right.
to help out Drake May overcome a deficit like let's say it's the same like 20-point deficit. I don't see the Patriots being able to do that just because of how inexperienced, like they've got how many rookies playing on their offense right now.
A lot.
Um,
I mean, Drake May's in year 2, but it's number 1 playoff game for him. So
well, I mean, yeah, but last year he looked like a rookie. This
yeah,
year is the only sense of doing better, which
I
I would
mean
hope that you grow in your second season. But how much in part is that to the rest of the team, like the defense and the coaching? Like, I don't think Drake May's numbers are astronomical. They're good, but they're not like, at least from what I've seen. I haven't looked at the stats, but I don't
yeah.
think he's certainly not NFL MVP level in my mind.
I
But
would also trust the Chargers to maintain a lead like that more than I trust the Packers to maintain a
yeah,
lead.
well, the Chargers based off of, looks
They're
like I'm
better
on
coached.
Fox Sports here, so they probably get their stuff from everywhere else. But it looks like the Chargers are a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Patriots are top 8, but the Chargers are top 5. I
absolutely.
agree with you. I think if the Chargers get out to a pretty hefty lead,
Yeah,
I don't think they relinquish that lead
they have a much
the
better
way that the
defense than the
Packers did
Packers do.
last night.
So Santor,
Yeah.
are you also going Chargers?
I am. Earlier this week, I thought Patriots, but I thought about this game a lot more, and the Patriots' pass rush isn't actually that great. So the
No.
offensive line for the Chargers should be able to withstand, most of that pass rush. Here's the other thing I'll say too. Um, I trust the Chargers offense more than the Patriots offense. They have more weapons. The Patriots have Diggs and Hunter Henry, but I mean the Chargers wide receiver trio is crazy good. Um, the other thing I'll say too is the Patriots had the easiest schedule of the entire league. They had
Yep.
the easiest schedule.
They were
And
the
like,
only team that played opponents whose win percentage was below 400.
guess what?
Yeah.
Patriots and the New York Giants have the same amount of wins over teams that are 500 or better.
Yep. Exactly.
So I'm just gonna say, like, I'm gonna take the Chargers because they're so well coached. The Patriots have had a cakewalk schedule. I think the Patriots' record is better than who they actually are just because of how many bad teams they've played this year. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Chargers to get the win. Justin Herbert, I trust him. I mean, he's the most sacked QB in the league, and yet he gets wins left and right.
I just thought of
And
something.
he had a rest week last week. He did not play last week. So I think he'll be fresh.
I just thought of something. If Chargers win this game, no matter what, they will go to Denver and play the Broncos.
Which
The
would be an
Chargers,
interesting game.
despite playing the number 2 and the number 1 seed in the AFC, I would argue have the easiest route to the conference championship because the Broncos are number 3 on the list of easiest schedule and worst opponents played. That's kind of funny.
We've been talking about the last 4 weeks about the Broncos also being fluky. So
Yeah.
I do think they are a little less fluky than the Patriots.
I
though.
would absolutely agree with that.
yeah,
But
they're still fluky though.
Because
They
the
haven't
Broncos
been
defense.
tested.
And I know we're not looking ahead to next week yet, but I'll tell you what, I would pick Denver to beat the Chargers next week if that were to happen because Denver leads the league in sacks. What do the Chargers lack? Offensive line.
Yep.
So I just think in a playoff game, the Broncos would win that. But we'll come back to that if that happens. So,
all right, so Chargers.
Yeah.
So we're all on the Chargers.
Basically.
Okay. So far we only disagree on the Jaguars Bills.
Yep.
Okay. And then Andrew, you can go ahead and start with this one. The Steelers host the Texans tomorrow night.
It's gonna be a good one. Very, very defensive, I think. Obviously, Houston is the best defense in the league as far as pure numbers go. So that's no easy task. I
Rodgers in
think
playoffs.
that this game. What's that?
I said, yeah, but they're up against playoff Aaron Rodgers.
I mean that's gonna be one of my. I think I have 3 points here. One of 3 points. Number one, we'll just start with that one. Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, back in the playoffs, right? I mean, you saw what he did in their last game. It's as simple as that. I think as a Steelers fan, I can be pretty pumped up for the playoff mode for Aaron Rodgers because he's going to take it up a level. He might actually be willing to take a hit or two here and there in the playoffs and not just
All
dance
right,
out of
I
bounds.
wouldn't go that far.
But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come through huge. There is the other factor of it being played in Pittsburgh, which is huge when you look at the two teams because again, it's a dome team coming into a sub-freezing state right now in the wintertime.
Yep.
And also I think Houston is they have not ever won an away playoff game.
Interesting.
So that's a pretty, and I know history doesn't always have to repeat itself there, but they're not very good playing away from home in the playoffs. And also I think that even though the defense of the Houston Texans is very strong, I think that having to play in Pittsburgh.
What time is their game tonight?
They play tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night.
But just wait, I'm setting that statistic up. My wife is frantically texting me to make sure I say that.
Oh yeah, well I know where you're going.
You got playoff Aaron Rodgers. You've got the game being played in Pittsburgh, right? And the third thing is that if you don't know, here's a stat for you. Since 1991, the Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated at home on Monday Night Football. Since 1991. So there's something to be said about that history. I know streaks can be broken, but they just play on a whole different level at home on Monday night, it seems.
Yeah.
And so I think the NFL strategically put that in place to see if Pittsburgh could win a game in the playoffs this year. It's not scripted. I'll voice that opinion.
Yeah.
It's not scripted, but if they were writing a script, I think they did a pretty good job of writing it. With all that said, again, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to say Pittsburgh's going to blow them out just because of those three factors, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come in clutch, especially in the late game. I think Pittsburgh's defense is going to be able to handle the Houston offense. The Houston offense is nothing special, in my opinion. Yep. It's arguably just as regular as Pittsburgh has been all season.
I would argue the Texans' offense is actually worse than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean it's an argument, but not a very strong one. I just think the quarterback play is going to be what turns the tide for Pittsburgh. Also, low key the running back play because I don't think the Texans have that good of a running game.
No,
Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they have a two-headed monster in Jaylen Warren, who leads the league in yards after contact and forced missed tackles, I believe. And then you have Kenny G, who was voted the team MVP because of his spectacular performance this year. And we get DK back. That's the other thing. We have Metcalf back, so we have our number one receiver. So I think that's also just going to help Rodgers, So my pick is Pittsburgh, in case you can't tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
What time is the game tomorrow?
8 p.m.
8 o'clock.
All right. So it's saying the temperature will be 35 degrees, but the real feel will be 27. So.
Yep. You got that nice Three River breeze swirling in on that open end zone there. All that cold air is going to be blowing through like crazy. Expect some kicks to be missed.
I'm going to go with
a factor.
I'm going to be super quick here. I have just like 2 or 3 reasons, but primarily just one, actually. I'm going Steelers because Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, he has so much postseason experience. He's played in the cold weather, with Green Bay, won many playoff games. CJ Stroud in the postseason, that 1 year he was in, he was good. But I mean, otherwise, CJ's been on the downhill ever since his rookie year, I feel like. I like the Steelers here because if there's anyone I can trust against an elite defense, it's probably Aaron Rodgers. Like the Texans have a top 3 defense, but Aaron's seen everything. So like I feel like he'll be able to adjust pretty well. He's going to be fine with calling audibles, protections, all that stuff. So while the Texans defense is elite, I think Aaron Rodgers can do enough to work around it. The Texans offense is nothing special. The only way I could see the Texans winning this game is if their defense just puts up absurd numbers. Because the Texans offense would not be the reason that they win this game.
Yeah.
They have Nico Collins, and that's about it. I mean, if the Steelers take Nico Collins out of the game, the Texans are not winning this game. So I actually really like the Steelers this week. I know Andrew's a little nervous probably to say that, but I actually love the Steelers to win this game.
I mean, I'm nervous for sure. Like, I'm not going to go into this game thinking it's a lock because I haven't seen a playoff win since 2016. So
That's fair.
So just so you know, Pittsburgh has the number 3 offensive line grade as far as what I can search on Google. But I will say, like, one of the things that has made Pittsburgh great as of late in the season has been their offensive line play. Aaron Rodgers has not been sacked that many times this year. It's part of the reason why he's probably healthy.
Yeah.
But also, they have one of the meanest offensive lines in the league right now. That Zach Frazier kid from West Virginia is an absolute beast as a center. Once Broderick Jones went down with an injury and was shut down for the year, they got this rookie in or whatever. Maybe not even a rookie, but like a first-time starter. I can't even remember his name. But their left tackle that came in after our first 2 left tackles went down shut down Myles Garrett by himself, essentially, when they played the Browns.
Yeah.
And since then hasn't allowed a sack since he started.
It's a big deal.
And you saw what Pittsburgh did in the running game against the Lions. They shut them down on their defensive line.
Yeah, and the Texans have
two consecutive drives with 45-yard touchdown runs, and they opened up some space. So I'll be curious to see how they stand against Houston's pass rush. I think they're going to fare pretty well against it because of facing teams like Myles Garrett towards the later end of the season. And also, I know Baltimore's defensive line isn't what it used to be, but they can still get after the quarterback. Their rushing hasn't been up to par since maybe a couple of years ago. But the division games, they're always tougher, especially towards the end of the year.
Ethan, what's your call on this?
So I thought a lot about this game, and I looked at the weather yesterday. I looked at a bunch of different things. I do think yesterday it said it was going to be 32 with a real feel of 24. So I don't know if that trend means they think it might get even warmer tomorrow. I don't know how much that will affect. I think it'll still be real feel sub-freezing. The other thing that I thought of was, yes, Texans probably have one of, if not the best defense in the AFC out of the playoff teams. But their offense has been pretty much nowhere to be seen for the entire season. If this were last year's Texans in the playoffs, I absolutely 100% would back them. But this year, they are not the team that they used to be. So I will also agree. I'm locking in the Steelers. I think overall they're stronger. If it weren't at home, I think it would be more of a toss-up. But I think the Steelers at home, Mike Tomlin is begging and begging for a playoff win.
Yeah.
I think the Texans arguably are one of the best teams to do that against. But I will say this does make a very interesting divisional round for the AFC because, Chargers and Bills would be my picks, and then Eagles and Seahawks would this is shaping up to be some pretty good playoffs.
So, am I correct in saying the only pick that we disagree on today is Jaguars-Bills?
Yes, I was close to disagreeing on the Eagles-Niners, but I can't in good conscience, knowing what I know about both teams, be like, yeah, the Niners are going to win.
And it's in Philly, man. That's the biggest thing for me about that game is Philly is no joke to play in.
What time is that game today?
That's a grudge match right there.
Did you guys know that the Eagles under Nick Sirianni have never lost a home playoff game?
I did know that. My
That's
brother and my cousin constantly remind me of that every single time
What time is
when
the
they're
game
talking about
today?
playoffs.
that's the 4 o'clock game or 4:30, whatever.
I will say though, the game's gonna be about 45 degrees. Like it's not gonna be that cold.
Also, oh my goodness, there's a crazy stat that I saw earlier this week that I want to bring up. Jalen Hurts, on any day this year that was not named Sunday, he threw 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. On Sundays this year, Jalen Hurts has thrown 21 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He has not thrown a single interception on Sunday.
Hey, maybe Sunday's his day.
The biggest factor in this game, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I picked the other team to win. The biggest factor in this game will be Fred Warner, who was out the last time they played the Eagles in playoffs, and he has, if you look at it, he is one of the number one in terms of like top 10 ranked QBs in the league. He is number one in terms of interceptions and pass breakups. So I think, we want to say it's going to be a very aerial game, which we talked about, but I think both teams have some great players on defense that are going to stop the air, that are going to stop passes. I think this is going to be a better game than pretty much any other game we see until the Super Bowl. Like, this is the game of playoffs. So I'm sure Andrew's sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
Santoro's sweating a little bit today.
Do we have, I know it's tough to do this in the playoffs, but like lock of the week / upset of the week predictions. And when we do this, I'm talking like sportsbook favorites. So Eagles are favored, Steelers are favored, Bills are favored, and Patriots are favored on the sports books.
Okay, well,
So
then my
locks-
upset of the week is absolutely Chargers Patriots.
I would also say my upset would be the Chargers.
Yeah.
I would say that.
I mean,
that
I think
is,
I have to go that way too, considering how we all picked the Chargers against the number 2 seed.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty fair. How about the lock?
As far as a lock, I don't think any of these games are locks, to be honest with you.
Well, I
I'll
would
give
have
you
said
one.
the
I'll give you
Rams-Panthers
one.
game. If you had asked me 24 hours ago, I would have said the Rams-Panthers game, so I'm going to guess
Right,
we can't
yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
But
it's true.
I'm
I'll
going to
give
go
you
with
my lock.
Steelers.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Lock it in.
That's your lock
Lock
of the
it
week.
in.
Oh my
That's my
God.
lock of the week. That's not even. I'm not even using that as my upset of the week. That's my lock of the week.
You know
bro.
what sucks?
That's your lock of the
Next week, if the Jaguars have lost, when we do our podcast next week, if they have lost, Santoro's gonna be like, yeah, I could have seen the Bills winning. Yeah, like humbly accept that he lost. If the Jaguars win,
Yeah,
he is going to be
exactly.
insufferable next week. He's gonna be like, you both picked wrong. I was right.
I am the best sports predictor ever.
And if McDermott is fired tomorrow, that's a double whammy. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. Okay. You know what? Yeah. Well, here. How about this? If the Jaguars win and McDermott is fired, I will give you 2 points for getting that correct. If the Bills win,
there we go.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
give you 2
Oh.
losses.
No, that's not fair.
No.
That's not fair at all.
Okay. Damn.
Look, man, you can't play with confidence and not be willing to take the consequences. Okay.
Okay, well then maybe we need to reshape our point system then.
No.
No,
We'll
no,
just
no.
stick with the games.
Locks of the week.
My lock of the week will be the Steelers. I think looking at all of the teams that are favored to win in the wild card round, I think they have the weakest opponent, and that's whether or not they were playing at home or in Texas. So my lock of the week is the Steelers. But all right, I'm gonna hop off.
Oh,
I will
yeah.
let you guys keep
Yeah.
talking. Let me know when you need to end stream. Shoot me a text.
That's fine.
Okay.
I
Santor, do you want to go back to the Packers game, or do you want to just?
Very briefly, just very quick. So just to finish
Yeah.
up on that, it's inexcusable to blow a 3-possession lead in the postseason, especially with you having the playoff experience. Ben Johnson, sure, he has some as a coordinator. Caleb has 0. Caleb Williams had nothing. Like, you're dominating the first half, and then you go out in the second half and do that. Like, it's just so inexcusable. Like, if I'm a Packers fan today, I don't even know what I'm thinking. I'm probably thinking fire the coach is what I'm thinking.
Who
Uh,
knows, man? Well, I
like,
have a Packers fan coworker, and she was very confident about this game. I will say that. So,
I mean, I
you
was
know,
too. I thought the Packers were gonna win, like not pretty easily, but like I thought that they had the advantage. And I mean, I'll say this too. Jordan Love played a better game than Caleb Williams.
oh,
He did.
absolutely. It was
Jordan
really
Love was
the.
what he threw like what 4 touchdowns yesterday. I mean, he was on fire. His
I mean, it
passer
was about
rating
the
yesterday was
defense.
well, yeah. I know, and I know you don't take too much stock in passer rating, but his passer rating was 103 yesterday. I mean, he was on
Well,
fire.
it means a good passer rating means you're making plays. It means you're
Right.
not making mistakes. So in a
Right.
sense, that's a much better statistic for me than completions,
Yeah.
because completion there could be a lot of factors, but yeah, I mean the QBR and the quarterback ratings, they're a lot more acceptable in my mind as an overall statistic for a quarterback because it's
Yeah.
taken a lot of things into play.
Right.
You know, how were they against pressure? How many drops were there as opposed to just missed throws? They
Right.
don't count drops against your QBR.
No.
It only counts as an incompletion, but those incompletions don't count towards QBR. Um, you
That
know,
that Caleb Williams interception when they were in the red zone when he was just off his back foot. I mean,
that was ridiculous. I mean,
I laughed. I literally LOL'd. Like I was laughing out loud at that.
I mean that was a hope and a prayer that something happened with that play. I mean,
And
like
yet
that you
the
can't.
Bears the Bears made so many mistakes and yet they still won that game. I
Yeah,
mean, the Packers defense crumbled in the second half. I mean,
they
there's no
did. I
other way to
mean,
put it.
you could say that the Packers offense got stagnant, but
But Jordan
you
Love was
shouldn't have to
wonderful.
worry about that when your
Yeah,
team goes up a 3-score game in the
right.
first. Like, you have a little bit of room to be stagnant and milk the clock and play
Yeah,
conservative. You're up by 3 scores, but you still have to make the plays. I think that was part of their problem was they were being
right,
conservative and they just weren't making enough plays to just run it down their throats at the end of the game and seal the win.
right.
Instead, they made stupid decisions, turned the ball over a bunch, um, and gave the Bears a chance. And in the playoffs, that's all teams need is a chance. You can't
Yeah,
give chances in the playoffs. You're going to come out on the losing end.
yeah. I
Um,
just to wrap up on that, Jordan Love played well. The Packers offense played well. The Packers do need to address, obviously their biggest concern is defense for this offseason.
their secondary is bad. I mean,
Yeah,
and they didn't have Micah Parsons. Once Micah Parsons comes back, their pass rush will be a little bit better, I think.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
but their secondary is bad.
yeah. Well,
They
and
they
the
had a
good
lot
news,
of they had a lot of guys running wide open on the Bears last night.
the good news for the Packers is
Um,
they can just bring most of them back on offense. Like their receivers are
True.
great. Their receivers are great. Jordan Love is great. Josh Jacobs, that was a good signing. He's a really good running back.
Yeah.
So I mean, their offense is set. They just need to get that defensive side of the ball right, and then I think they'll be okay.
Well, didn't they sign Diggs,
They did.
cornerback
I
from
mean,
Dallas?
they
I
did.
don't know
We'll
how well he
see.
played or not, but
We'll
from what I
see.
know, Dallas fans stopped liking him after a little bit because he got lazy. Is
Yeah, he
what they
was
said.
a he
I
was
have a group chat between my brother, my cousin, and
yeah.
and my uncle, and he's unfortunately he's a Dallas fan. So we roast him 24/7 about that. But he was saying good riddance basically to
Yeah,
Diggs because he's lazy and a bad tackler. So I don't know. You can't deny coverage ability, but if he doesn't make the coverage stop, he's got to make the
right.
tackle. You know.
Yeah,
So
right.
who knows?
So
But that's their
that's about
weakest
it.
link. Hopefully they shore that up.
Any thoughts on the I know we did like what were the thoughts for the future of the Panthers? Future of the Packers, if they get that defensive side of the ball right, I think they could win the
Yeah, I
division
mean,
next year. Like,
I don't think they should fire LaFleur because he does have a good rep with his players right now. I don't think
fire
any
the
of his players
defensive
dislike
coordinator
him.
though. Fire the
Well, yeah,
defensive.
I mean, even here's the thing. My thing
Somebody
is
has
you
to be
can't
fired.
see. I don't think so. And that's just because I'm a Steelers fan, seeing the same coaching staff year to year and having success even with a subpar coordinator. Like we won 9 to 10 games with Matt Canada, bro. Like it's not
Yeah.
always about the coordinators, even though that one was. The Matt Canada offense was trash. But with that said, you can still win games with proper game planning and proper execution. And a lot of times you can't fault the coordinator for poor execution.
Yeah, that's
Even
fair.
though
That's
we
fair.
like to do that.
I
Because
just feel like that's such an
theoretically, you can't.
inexcusable loss.
Yeah, you can't win games off of theoreticals, but theoretically, if they ran the proper plays in the proper moments and executed the way they're supposed to execute, a lot of plays can turn out differently. Um, so I don't think anyone needs to be fired. I think they could run it back with the same coaches. I think that they need to draft decent on defense this year. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the first 2 picks should go defensive. Get maybe a linebacker and a corner, or even a safety. I mean, a safety can help them too. But correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they have a pretty decent safety, or is it their corners that are pretty bad? The Packers.
Well, I think
Who is their
it's their corners that need more work, I
their
think.
corner? Yeah. Yeah. So they need to draft defensively, and I think if they do that well this offseason, I think they'll set themselves up pretty well.
Yeah.
And who knows, signing a good free agent could help
Yeah.
too. I don't know, get another pass rusher next to Parsons, because
As
I
much
don't
as
know who
that
they have besides Parsons.
Yeah, not a lot. As much as that loss stings, it's like the offense has a great future. So once they get that defensive side right, they should be good to go.
Sure.
Otherwise, I actually don't know if I mean, we can certainly look ahead to potential matchups, but I mean, it's tough to do that though, because if these games go the opposite way, all the seeding's going to get messed up. So, I mean, we
We'll
could
go with our picks real quick. I mean,
Sure.
let's take the next 5 minutes or so and check out next week
let's do a quick 5-minute.
if our picks go through. You know.
So if our picks move on, we would have Seahawks Rams, which would be a really interesting rematch. And to be honest with you, that's such a tough one because it's a divisional game. You know, anything can happen in that sort of a game. What Sam Darnold do we get? Do we get the Sam Darnold that's going to throw 3 or 4 interceptions, or do we get the Sam Darnold who has been great, you know, pretty much all season? Yeah. I'm telling you, if Sam Darnold comes out and plays like he's played all year this year, the Seahawks should win this game. But we know playoff Sam can be, you know, not so great. I don't know.
We don't know what we're getting.
I don't know.
We don't know what we're getting. So
I would probably.
We don't have to do picks. We can just look at next week if our picks go through.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I would probably lean Seattle, but that would be a game. That would be a good game.
Just because it's at home too, you know.
Yeah. And then we've got Eagles traveling to the Bears. That would be another good game.
I think the Eagles take that one.
Yeah,
I think they would take that one.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, that's a rematch from earlier this year that the Eagles got destroyed, so you would think they would come out with a little more vengeance. Bills Steelers. Bills won earlier this year. I don't know. Playoff Rodgers. I could see the Steelers pulling that one out. As crazy as that might sound.
They'd be at home again for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, the Bills beat us at home, but that was when Pittsburgh was going through a low point in the year.
Yeah.
After that game was when they turned all their stuff around, realistically.
Right.
Like, they had that stinker against Cleveland, but again, that was a situation. They were trying to stop the sack record from happening in Pittsburgh. Yeah. You know, they were more worried about that nonsense than winning the division, it seemed.
Either way, that would be a really good.
The Ravens, they win.
That would be a really good game.
It'll be tough. It'll be tough because of that storyline in the regular season, but you know, you wouldn't worry about the weather because they're both cold weather teams. Right. Arguably, Buffalo is a more cold weather team than Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So.
And then we would also have the Chargers visiting the Broncos, another division game. And crazy. That's one where, you know, anything could happen. The reason I lean Broncos, I said this earlier, is because they just sack the quarterback so much, and that's literally the Chargers' weakness. So, like, the Broncos' strength is the Chargers' weakness. You put those things together, and, like, the Broncos should win. I will say Bo Nix has playoff experience. He lost the first game last year, but this isn't his first time. So I mean, and he's at home. So he has the comfort of that. Um, I'm not saying the Chargers couldn't win that game, but I think the Broncos should be favored, and I would probably lean Denver just because of that.
They will, yeah, they will be favored for sure.
Yeah.
Unless the Chargers win so dominantly that they think that they've switched gears, But I don't see it happening.
Yeah. So it's
But yeah,
interesting
it's
to
going to
look
be.
ahead, you know. So that's what would happen if all of our picks come true, but it's crazy because if even one pick is wrong, it could swap up all the matchups. So we'll have to
Right.
probably wait until next week to, make our divisional round selections. But that was it for the wild card weekend. It'll be interesting. The Jaguars Bills kicks off in like 40 minutes, so that'll be exciting.
Yep.
I'll definitely keep up, watch that game. Again,
I know
I'm
I'm going to
big
get
on
massive
Jaguars.
amounts of text from you during that game.
Yeah, I'm big on Jacksonville, everyone. So if you're watching this game, I'm big on Jacksonville.
Just go buy yourself a Trevor Lawrence jersey already.
Anyways, unless you have anything else you'd like to add, Andrew, I think we're pretty set.
No,
for
I
today.
don't. I'm patiently waiting today because obviously my game's not till tomorrow night, so I get to just sit back and enjoy the chaos
You
for the
get
day,
to enjoy,
just like yesterday. So,
all right. Well,
it's crazy being the last game of the regular season, then also being the last game of the divisional or the wild card round. So it'll be kind of nerve wracking, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll be back next Sunday live. In fact, we might actually try to go live Friday or Saturday potentially, just because we'll have some playoff games on Saturday next weekend. So, but just keep tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Later.
All right. See ya.
Later, chat.